It can be weakness, being feeble, without strength, or powerless. You pick it. Those four. Emotional, relational, spiritual, physical, mental, you name it. Whatever the circumstance is, are we looking at that situation and those circumstances from our point of view or from God's point of view? Big, big difference. Big, big change. Big, big different way of looking at the same situation. We like to keep it turned around. Because when we look at it from our point of view, what do? We want to force it to happen a certain way. When you look at it from God's point of view, I know the outcome. This sickness is not unto death. What's it going to cost me? I know sickness is not unto death. God's going to be glorified. What else do you need to know? Well, I need to know everything. Yes, you're looking at it from your point of view. When you look at it from God's point of view, it's not unto death. He's going to work it out. Everything's going to be fine.
You know the outcome.
You know the outcome, exactly. You know, I'm here, I'm going here, I just don't know what happens from point A to point B. But that's up to Him. That's not up to me. My point is just walk with God. So, not get ahead of myself. 4 verses down, 40 to go. Wow. Now Jesus loved Martha and his sister and Lazarus. See, he keeps... I love this story because he keeps going back to that. He loved him. He loved him. He loved them. The one that Jesus loved. Lazarus, the one that God helps. He's sick. It's not unto death. Where was I? And when he had therefore heard that he was sick, he abode 2 days still in the same place where he was. That's love, isn't it? That's love. I love you. I love your brother. I love your sister. He's the one who I help. He's the one that, Lazarus, the one that you love. He hears about it and he stays put for 2 days. 2 days. He stayed in one spot. That's love. How many of you want God to love you that way? You have a problem and He does nothing. He sits down. Oh, you're dying? Let's eat. Let's go shopping. There's a good movie playing. Let's head out to the movie. Yeah, I understand you're dying. Let's go watch a movie or two. The mountains are beautiful this time of year. Let's go take a drive. Now, I'll be back in a couple of days. Don't worry. See, that's a matter of looking at the situation from your point of view and from God's point of view. He wasn't bothered. He was not worried. He said, this is the one, I love these guys. His sisters, where are we? Jesus loved Martha and their sister and Lazarus. And when he heard, he abode 2 days still where he was. He didn't move. He didn't come running. We're under the misconception that when we have a problem, God's got to come running. He doesn't. God's job is what? Work out the situation the way He works out the situation. His job is not to stand to attention and jump and run every time we have a little problem. Well, He was dying. Little problem. No big problem for Him. It was a big problem for Lazarus. Wasn't a big problem for Jesus. We think our problem is paramount to the world. It just overshadows the whole world. The world has to stop. Jesus, you have to come. In other words, we don't want to go through any trials. We don't want to go through any hard points in life, hard spots in life. All we want to do is, if one little bad thing happens, Jesus, jump on, take care of it so I can go on my life. What was He doing with the life of Lazarus? Changing it completely. After all this, Lazarus' life will never be the same. People will look at him different. He'll be a walking testimony. He'll be a walking death sentence. Every time they see him, they'll see the glory of God. They'll see what Jesus did. His life was about to be turned upside down, completely revamped, completely undone. And all we see is, I've got a problem. I've got a little problem. God sees a new life. He sees a new way of doing things, a whole new situation. Therefore, he stayed 2 days still. And I think of this, and I think of the Catholics. You know, well, this is sweet baby Jesus. He's staying 2 more days. I'm dying, and he's sitting down. Because what was the... Let me find the spot. How far was he? It's 15 furlongs. I remember that. I just don't...
2 miles.
2 miles. Was it 2 miles?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, verse 18. Jesus was 2 miles away. 2 miles away. He was just next door. He was closer, you know, I don't know how far my house is from here, but it's, what, 2 miles?
6 miles.
6 miles? He's a third of the way from here to my house. I walk that. I walk more than that to exercise. When I exercise, I walk more than that. My wife walks more than that. Jesus could have walked more than that. But he decided to sit down, and he was only 2 miles away. He was that far away and didn't come running. How many of you want to serve a God like that? If you were God, you'd have done it different, wouldn't you? If it was one of your kids or your best friends or the people that you love, and you had the power to heal and they were dying, what would you do? React to the flesh or react to the will of God? Well, I'd do the will of God. Are you sure? Are you sure? It's easy to say, but it's a little harder to do, because what happens? You're in a crisis and all the emotion. We think people just came up and said, Jesus, Lazarus is sick. No, the Jews were known, and we'll read it farther on. They're weeping. They're crying. I mean, they're all up in arms and wailing and go get Jesus and get him now and tell him what's going on. And everybody's all emotional, and it's a big deal. Back then, if you got sick, it was serious. I mean, a hangnail could kill you, kind of thing. It was, you know, it was just a serious. That's a little bit of a stretch, but you know, you get my point. Little things can kill you. Their life expectancy wasn't very long. So it's all these emotions, all this crisis going on. What would you do? Go back into the will of God or go with the flesh? Jesus went with the will of God. Why? He could see it from his point of view, not from their point of view. We have to switch our thinking from what we see to what he sees. That's having the mind of Christ. Same place after that, he said to his disciples, let's go to Judea again. His disciples said unto him, Master, the Jews of late sought to stone thee, and you go there again. Jesus answered, are there not 12 hours in a day? If any man walk in the day, he stumbles not, because he sees the light of the world. But if a man walk in the dark, in the night, he stumbles because there's no light in him. He decides, okay, let's go up. We're leaving here, we're going there. They said, Master, we go. Those are the guys that want to stone you. They want to kill you. What was he telling him? There's 12 hours in the day. You walk in the day, you won't stumble. What day is he talking about? He's talking about the will of God. You walk in the light of Jesus. You walk in the light of the gospel of Jesus. You will not stumble. There won't be stutter stepping. There won't be falling down. There won't be sin and mistakes. You walk in the night, which is in the flesh, in your will, your way, doing what you want, how you want to do it. What happens to you? How many have ever done what they wanted to do? Heck with everything else. I'm doing what I want to do because this is what I want to do. Yeah, it may be wrong. I don't care. I'm doing it. I have done that. What happens? How bad is the fall?
Not good.
How bad does it hurt? How many knocks and bruises do you get? We used to play hide and seek at night. Ever play hide and seek at night? And I was a little older. I was in my 20s. I was working at the church at this time. I was in the ministry, and I was, just started. And we were with the youth group. We were in a neighborhood somewhere playing hide and seek at night. It was dark, 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 dark. And me and this other kid are running through this yard, this backyard. And I don't know why it was there, but there was a clothesline or something about this level, about chest high or stomach high. And it was a piece of wire, and it was tied up tight. I hit this thing at a full sprint. He was right behind me. And it stretched out just enough to stop me and sent me backwards like a slingshot. I stopped, he plowed into the back of me, and we both went flying backwards. I mean, it was a slingshot kind of event going backwards. See, nothing good ever happens. You walk at night. You run around at night. You walk through your life in the darkness. Walking in the darkness is seeing situations from our point of view. I want what I want, and I don't care what it takes. I don't care what has to happen. I don't care what you do. I don't care who it hurts. I don't care what goes on. This is what I want. That's walking in the darkness. Walking in the light is, here's the will of God. Here's where we're going. Here's what's going to happen. Lord, you're working it out. You see it. We see what's going on. Everything happens good. What was Jesus saying? You walk in the dark. You walk in the light. Things work out. He stumbles not. You walk in the night, you stumble. That's real easy. You walk by the flesh, you stumble. You walk by the Spirit, you stumble not. I'm a simple southern boy. I can understand that. It's like when we went whitewater rafting. My wife always had trouble with this.
Always.
Always one time. Floating rapids, swimming rapids. The guy said, when it's dark, don't breathe. When it's light, breathe. Perfect sense to me. My wife and daughter had serious problems with that. They tried it the other way. Needless to say, there was a rescue on my part before it was all said and done, because they were both about to die. So I had to, when it was dark, they would try and breathe. When it was light, they wouldn't breathe. That meant when it's dark, your head's underwater. When it's light, your head's above the water. So I had to do what God has to do to us. I swam over there and turned them around. They couldn't see the waves coming. They couldn't see the problem coming at them. They were looking the other way. So when they try and breathe, a wave would come over real fast. When you see the wave coming, you know when to breathe. Makes sense now, doesn't it? I just couldn't help but throw that in. I had to.
I have part B, but we'll let it
Okay. Tell me part B later.
Okay.
That's the part I remember. Because it preaches good. It makes a real good story. Okay. So, what got me there? Walking in the light. And verse 11. But these things said he, and after that he said unto them, our friend Lazarus sleeps, but I go that you may wake him out of his sleep. Then he said to the disciples, Lord, if he sleeps, he'll do well. And Jesus spake, howbeit Jesus spake of his death, but they thought that he spoke of taking his rest. They thought he was just sleeping. They were looking at their situation from the fleshly point of view, from their point of view. So Jesus, as plainly as he does, and said, Jesus unto him plainly, Lazarus is dead. And I'm glad for your sakes that I was not there. Wow. Let's sing the song, What a Mighty God We Serve. Lazarus is dead, and I'm glad. Wow. Think about that. Lazarus is the one whom God helps, living in the house of affliction. He loved Lazarus. He loved Mary. He loved Martha. He loved them. And now Lazarus is dead, and I am glad. How many want Jesus to love you like that? Sounds bad, doesn't it? But what did he say? I'm glad for your sakes that I was not there, to the intent that you may believe. Nevertheless, let's go unto him. To the intent that you may believe, that your mind might be changed, that what you think might be turned around, that what's happening in your life might be turned around. Then said Thomas, which is called Didymus, unto his fellow